Today was a really good day. I tripped on LSD for the first time in like 3 years, and I had been tripping. See, I'm still tripping, just a little bit. I had been tripping on psilocybin shrooms, which was fine. It was like very chill and mellow, but I had forgotten how much freaking work I get done on LSD. Like, my goal for today was to write a video outline for this video that I'm working on called Van Plan, which is like me trying to motivate myself to save up money to like get a van, like a travel van, which is something I've been dreaming about for years. So that was the goal for today. And I started out going for a barefoot run, which was a really chill way to start out the day. And then when I came back, I've been like struggling to figure out how to write this video because it's so big. Like, it involves so many things in my life, and I've been trying to write it for weeks, but I've been stuck. And so I found this book that I had read as a kid called The Caboose Who Got Loose. And turns out it's like the perfect structure for the video because it's about this caboose named Katie, and she has this dream of living out in the woods, but she's kind of like stuck at the end of this train. And then by the end of the book, she like gets off of the track. She like uncouples from the train and she goes flying and she ends up in the trees. And that's sort of the story. Like, that's the story for the video. That's the story for where I want my life to go next. That's a story that I feel like a lot of people are struggling with. They're like on this track in life, and they can't get off of it. They're just like stuck, and the engine is like getting all of the attention and the success and the money in life, and then you're just like the freaking caboose, and all you want to do is just like get free and like live, off on your own. um, but anyways, that's how the day started. And this angle that I'm using right now, I came up with it by accident. I would just like put the camera on top of my speaker, and I don't usually use the 16 millimeter that much, but it has a really good wide angle to it. And I just accidentally put it here, and it was even nicer in the beginning of the day because there's all this natural light coming from over there. But yeah, the angle is really cool here because you've got this sort of like coming in like this. And I was also thinking about, like, I've been shooting my videos with a 30 millimeter lens, which, if you don't know, sort of is a lot farther away from you. But with a close up lens like the 16 millimeter, like, you can kind of do things like this. So I was getting really bored with my barefoot reviews. Um, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, but I don't know. I just want to make these videos because I'm not good at like talking off the cuff. So I'm just like, I don't know. We're gonna get better at it. We're gonna get better at it together. But anyways, so I thought it would be cool to be able to show things close up like this. You could show details, and then it would make it a lot easier for me to record my videos. Instead of having to have like all these different shots that I get, I could just have basically one shot where I'm doing the barefoot review, and I can show like all the different aspects of the shoe. I can show a close up, and I can show the sole, and talk about it, whatever. And then yeah, it'll make it easier for me to film videos. Um, so that was one of the first good things that happened. Um, what else? I'm reading my notes here. I'll show you. Yeah. So let me put the camera back down. Okay. It's off. I'm like fighting the urge to want to stop the camera right now because I'm just like going all over the place. But we're good. We're just gonna go with it. All right. We're just gonna keep going as I slowly adjust the camera. All right. Okay. Um. Oh yeah. So, anyways, I was visualizing. I was visualizing part of the video. There's this scene where I'm kind of like stuck and I'm trying to figure things out. So I go into the woods and I climb a tree to try to like get perspective, but I don't have a GoPro, so there's no way for me to record going up the tree. So I thought it would be cool if I was at the bottom of the tree and I had my backpack, and then I'm like, like talking to the camera like this, and then I like put the camera in the backpack, climb the tree, and then, it's like cuts to taking the backpack out, taking the camera out of the backpack, and then I'm like in the top of the tree, which I think would be a really cool shot because you like go into the darkness and then you come out and you're like in the light at the top of this tree. Yeah, so I thought that would be really cool. Um, I also was thinking about how what scares me, and this is completely random, which is just how these videos are going to be, but I was thinking about dating and how there's such a fine line between desire and neediness. And I feel like that's what scares me about dating is that, like, if you don't bring enough energy to an interaction, and I guess not dating and not just dating, but like, I don't know, social interaction in general, like, if you don't bring enough, like, positive, like, energy and excitement to the interaction, like, you just like come off as weird, and it feels like this really fine line where I'm always worrying about, like, I don't know. I'm just worried about like my energy not being consistent or something. Um, yeah, so moving on. Um, yeah, if you ever felt like you made a really good connection with someone and then it was like you're in this life raft and you're like holding your hand out to them, like, and they're in the water and you're like, let me help, like, come, like, let me help you, like, get onto the life raft. And then you like, you grab hands with them and then you like slip, like, and then they just like slip back into their like old life or whatever. I was just thinking about that with this specific person who I'm not going to name, but yeah, it almost hurts more. Um, Not like the rejection, like someone rejecting you, but someone rejecting themselves. Have you ever felt like that? Like you watch this person like almost turn on like creatively and then they just kind of fell back into their old like habits and routines. Yeah, that really sucks. Um, so that made me think about how low energy people can't attract high energy people. I'm going to explain that in just a second. Hold on. Um, yeah. So here's where I was writing about that. Yeah. Um, and the thing is, like, I've always wondered why some people struggle to like be successful in life or in business or dating or whatever. And I think it's because in society we're very willing to forgive people who have high energy flaws, like someone who has a temper or someone who like cheats or like gambles too much or something. It's like they have high energy flaws, like their flaw is having too much energy in life. But if you're someone who has low energy and your problem is like you're depressed, like people don't forgive depression, especially like chronic depression, like chronic low energy. People don't forgive that because like on social media, for example, like if you came on and you were just like depressed all the time, people would just ignore you. Like your channel would get 0 views unless you were just really lucky. Um, yeah, so I think it's really important to like fix your energy. And that's like a much deeper topic, but just in terms of like your diet and your habits and everything, like if you're just consistently low energy, it's just impossible for you to attract people into your life. All right. Next stop on the random vlog train. I was thinking about my beard and like how I actually need to go on like a serious beard trip to New York City or something to like figure out what I want to do with it because it's just like sitting here. It's just like wild and crazy and I don't know what to do with it. And like the few times when I've gone to a barber, they just like local barbers, they just kind of like just give you the basic trim, you know, and like I don't know. I just want something like interesting and crazy, and but like it's really hard to trim your own beard, and I don't know how to do that. So yeah, I think that would be a really cool video to do. Um, moving on, I had a really good conversation with one of my neighbors. I just went outside to get the mail, and um, yeah, it's really awkward when you're tripping and you have to talk to someone because you're not sure how it's gonna go. There's this like really unusual energy in the air, and you're like, "Am I gonna make a fool of myself? Like, are they gonna know that I'm tripping?" But anyways, he was like 80 years old, and he's like the sweetest person ever. And I feel like recently I haven't had any good conversations with him because I've just been so like closed down because I've just been frustrated creatively. But we just had this really good conversation about like um I sometimes I go into his yard to like film, and he was like, "Oh, like what are you doing?" And I was like explaining filmmaking to him and how you have to run around like mad in the morning trying to get shots before the light goes. And then we were talking about like me being skinny and him working as a mailman, and I don't know, just like all over the place. And the other thing that was really good about it was I feel like I forget this when I go too long without taking psychedelics, but it's really important to just be able to like sit in space like this, you know? I feel like I have this bad habit of always trying to fill space with words and physical objects and whatever. And I feel like the recipe to having an interesting conversation with someone is just being able to sit in silence and like give them that space to like tell you interesting things. Um, yeah, I don't know. We were just talking. It was just a great conversation, and yeah, I need to remember that. I need to remember to not talk so fucking much. um, um, yeah. So going along with that, um, I realized that what really creeps most people out socially is attachment. Like, and there are two types of attachment that creep people out. One type is when you're attached to other people. Like if you're having a conversation with someone and they are clearly like wanting to like leave, but you're still like, give me more energy, like the energy vampire vibe. That's one thing that really creeps people out. The second thing that I think creeps people out is when you're like withholding your own energy. So like if someone's telling you something personal about themselves, or they're like trying to move the conversation forward, but then you're like, you know, you're just like closed body language, and you're like trying to get away from the conversation, or you're not like sharing anything. That's the other thing that really creeps people out. um, so yeah, in general, like not being attached to things is good for conversation and socialization and so many other things. Huh. um Yeah, here's another good one. I've been thinking about like how to stay creative, and I've been having a lot of problems with it over the past few years. And one of the things that's really helped is tripping, but I feel like I don't know what the right amount to trip is. So I've only been doing it once every 6 months, but I'm just finding that with all of like stress and emotional problems and political problems and health problems and family problems, like the problems just pile up too fast for me to deal with. Like taking psychedelics every 6 months. And so there is this sex researcher named Ayla, who I've I was listening to a podcast about her, and she was talking about how she once went through this year where she took LSD every single week for an entire year. And I remember thinking, wow, like that's a lot, isn't it? But maybe it's not. I don't know. So I'm like, maybe the key to getting out of this situation that I find myself in, where I'm just continually getting stuck creatively and not not having unique enough content continuously to make a living, maybe the solution is to like do the same thing. Like I had the year where I did 365 comics, and maybe I need to have a year where I do 52 um, trips on LSD. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try it. And I was imagining like my mom's reaction to me telling her that I would trip on LSD once a week for an entire year, let alone trip on LSD at all. And it's like, oh my God, never gonna happen. That conversation is not gonna happen. Um, but maybe it should. I don't know. Um, yeah, I had this really good quote because I was working with the window open and the air was coming through, and I was just getting really good nature vibes. So I wrote, if you can't be out in nature, then at least let some in. I was like, yeah, that's the vibe, man, because I've been working in this like cave room where there's not that much natural light. So I think, yeah, I think it's really important to like if you're not always out in nature for what you're doing, to just like open the windows, just like hear stuff and get the breeze. And yeah, especially now that it's summer, I'm really gonna enjoy that, and I hope that you do too. um, yeah, rules. I feel like with the whole van plan story and just like trying to move out of my mom's house, this is one of the things that I've been thinking about the most is like when you are living with someone, especially a parent, in a house that is not yours, you're constantly having to um, adapt yourself to other people's rules. And it's not just a matter of like, oh, I want to blast like Death Grips or Danny Brown at like 1 a.m. in the morning or something, and I can't be it's like I need to do these things in order to function. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between just wanting something because you want it and needing to do something because you need it as a creative person. Like I feel like I spent so much time in this house feeling um, repressed because I was trying to respect someone else's rules, and it makes it really difficult in a profession where literally the entire point is to express yourself. So yeah, that's the whole thing with like the van life video, is that I need to be someplace with my own rules where I can function and I can make killer videos that are not boring and repressed. Yeah. um Corner. Yeah. So I also was journaling about how you ever feel like you talk to someone who has painted themselves into a corner, and when you try to talk to them about it, they become like very unstable because they realize how much work is going to be involved to like unpaint themselves out of the corner. I feel like a lot of people in life are like this. They're sort of stuck and they don't want to admit that they're stuck, because if they admit that they're stuck, then it means that they're going to have to do a lot of work to get unstuck, and that amount of work scares them. And yeah, so I feel like this is a common problem that I have talking to people and building relationships, is that like I'll get to a certain point where people start talking about like what they want in life, and then I'm like, oh, like you could do XYZ, and they're like, oh, but then I would have to do this and this and this, and then they either get like depressed or like defensive or whatever. So yeah, I don't want to be that person. Like if I'm stuck in life, if I have problems, like I'm like living at my mom's house and it sucks. And I don't want to be here, but I also want to admit that I don't want to be here because I want to do the work to like get out, you know? Um, Yeah, I was also thinking about how I really like the light in this room when it looks good, just like natural light, because I've been using um, my big studio light, which is over there in the closet. You can see the little bit of it peeking out, the little space blanket. But yeah, it just doesn't look super natural. It doesn't look super natural. It doesn't look natural. And yeah, so I want to film just when the room looks nice, you know? Um, we're close. We're close to the end for today. It's just today was a crazy day because I was tripping all day and I'm like out of my mind, exhausted because of all the things I've done like three times the normal work, the normal amount of like work and creativity. So the brain is tired, but bear with me. Yeah, like three more things. I think the fact that I stayed focused the entire day today is is really good. Like I wrote, hang on, let me get to it. Uh, Fan plan script. Here we go. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the outline. Yeah, okay, here we go. So, yeah, I wrote the entire freaking outline. This video is going to be a monster video. I'm like terrified of making this video. Yeah, look at that. So, yeah, yeah, I'm proud that I kind of like stayed on task today because I feel like sometimes when I've tripped, I just planned way too much and then I didn't get anything done, which really sucks because then you kind of had this frenetic energy and then you come crashing down and you haven't accomplished anything and then you have to go back to sobriety like with no like wholly creative insights or work. Yeah, and you're like, oh god, what was this for? So that's a good lesson, I feel like, for psychedelics, but also just life in general. It's just like don't try to do too much. Doing too much always results in you doing nothing at all. So yeah, when in doubt, just do one thing. Um, I think we're almost, yeah, we're pretty much to the end of the day. Um, Probably gonna go for a walk after this just to like chill out. I tried writing the script, but I was just so tired from working all day. It was just like too much to try to do. So I'm just, yeah, just gave myself the rest of the day off. Um, and yeah, so here are the numbers. In these videos, I'm just gonna put the stats out there for what I'm going through every day. Um, because I feel like that'll be good for accountability. I feel like it's good to put metrics about yourself out there because then people know where you are, you know where you are, and like you can't make excuses or um, represent things in a way that they aren't, which is something that can really keep you trapped in a place when you're not honest with yourself or with other people about where you are, you know? So today is number 12, 1,250 since I started the 365 challenge with my book. And it's April 16th, 2023. Um, and my overall net worth is like $100 right now. I'm still like in a hole from um, buying the e-ink monitor because that thing was fucking expensive. It was like $2,000. But we'll get there. We'll get there, my friends. Um, yeah. So overall score for today is just like a 10 out of 10. I feel like every time I do LSD, it's just like the best day of my life. I get so much done. I have so many fucking insights. I like fill so many pages in the journal of just like random, crazy, awesome just drawings and notes. This is like the best day ever. I mean, yeah, I could just live this day on repeat. So yeah, today was a 10. Exercise was a 7. Lines was a 10. Pain, not so great. Things always hurt when you're on psychedelics more so than when you're sober because you realize like the problems that are going on in your body. Like I've had joint pain from Lyme disease and probably other things going on for like 3 years. And yeah, when you're on psychedelics, things fucking hurt. Um, Sexuality, 0. Yeah. Um, Sleep, 3. I didn't sleep very well last night. I woke up around like 1 in the morning, but then I got back to sleep. So I ended up sleeping really well. It's just I didn't sleep. I didn't get a continuous night of sleep. And then creativity, 10. I don't know. I can't be more creative than this. I don't think it's physically possible. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this rant. Um, Maybe I will post more. I hope that I'll do this every day and get better at it because we're at like 26 minutes. I'm so sorry. If you're at the end of this video, like you just deserve an award. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.